Welcome to episode 18 of the Darth Show. So guys, once again, welcome to another episode of the Darth Show, and I hope you all had a good week, and now it's time to start off your week, or the week in my sense, because today is my Saturday, in my twisted sense of a weekend, so I hope you sit back, relax, enjoy the episode 18 of the Darth Show. So we begin this week with some of the week in the movies. There's everything going on in the world of the movies I saw in theaters, to anything I saw on Netflix, or what came out on my classic movie review this week. And first we got to talk about Netflix has been trying to change the game for a while. They've been doing it a lot in the TV realm. And for a while now they've been trying to move it on to movies. And there's been a few movies come out, but none of them have really gotten the success that really... They haven't really found their groove yet, and right now they're still trying to get there. And I'm, of course, talking about Death Note. Death Note is a movie which was made by Netflix, produced by Netflix, directed by Adam Wingard, and it's based off the anime Death Note, which is an anime I watch, and I love Death Note. The anime is, I think, one of my favorite animes of all time. Unfortunately, the movie is not that good. So the basic premise of Death Note is you have this character called Light. He finds this book called Death Note. And Death Note, he can kill any person in the world. He's like, you write down the name of the person you want killed, and then within a minute or two, they'll die. You can place what time they can die and everything like that. The only rule is it has to be realistic. Like, they made a joke, it's like, they made a joke to remake in the movie that it's like, as much as I would love someone dying by a shark attack on the toilet, it's not possible. Everything has to be realistic. So, what I didn't like... So, the movie... There were some moments I liked about the movie. About him finding Death Note, how he wants to make the world a better place. And that's what made the anime really good. Unfortunately, what the movie doesn't do is that it doesn't really villainize Light that much. Because in the anime, you really understand... It's kind of like Breaking Bad. You're getting down to the psyche of a character and how he's kind of become the thing he's tried to defeat. And the thing that I didn't like about the movie was, in the anime, you saw how many steps ahead he was thinking ahead of everyone else. And in the show, in the movie, you just do not see that. He's just so slow. He's not that smart. And that's one thing I didn't really like about the movie that much. You had the one girl, she was in Leftovers. I liked her in Leftovers. I didn't really care for her in this movie. And that's one thing I didn't really like about the movie, was that they kind of forced a romance down your throat and kind of try to make it into a YA movie. And that's not what Death Note is. The biggest problem with this movie is it had so much potential and it wasted it. and it wasted it. So I'm going to talking about that. You can see my full review of Death Note right now on the YouTube channel. Make sure you just go to YouTube, search up Darth Easy, subscribe while you're at it, and watch my Death Note review. And now it's time to talk about the movie I just saw in theaters just about an hour or so ago, and that is Wind River. Wind River is a movie directed by, I believe it's Tyler Sheridan. He wrote the scripts of Sicario and Hell or High Water. And this guy just knows how to write a movie. And now he knows how to direct a movie. This is a starring Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen. It's got John Bernthal in there. I didn't even know he was in the movie. It might be a little bit of a spoiler, but not really. And this movie is just incredible. The movie gets really dark at times. And it's kind of hard to explain how good it really is, because a lot of it is a spoiler, but not really. The basic premise of the movie is you have Jeremy Renner. He's a hunter, and he finds his dead body. He calls it to the sheriff's office, and you have an FBI agent played by Elizabeth Olsen. A guy try to track down who killed this girl, how she died, and then you also deal with stuff how wrongfully accused the Native Americans have been for centuries since our nation's history. And let's just say it was just a fascinating movie in my sense. The crime element to it was just really cool, and just this place that you really do not want to live to, because I hate snow, I hate winter. The Starks always say it right: winter is coming, and I hate it when winter comes. I just hate the cold weather, and I would hate to live in a place like this, because the weather just looked terrible. I was chilly just by watching the movie, and that's how uncomfortable it made me just from watching it. And everyone's great in this movie. This movie does not get Oscar buzz. I don't know what's wrong with the Academy, but this movie deserves every award it should get. But I don't know if it'll get nominated or not, but because it's so early in the year, it might get forgotten about. But hey, Hell or High Water came out last August. I don't think this is as good as Hell or High Water, but I think it's a really, really good movie. So, check out Wind River right now. It's in theaters. My review of Wind River should be up probably Thursday at the earliest. And now it's time to talk about the classic movie review of the week. And that is, well, it's not going to be a fun review to talk about. And that is The Goonies. I'm sorry. I know there are probably a lot of Goonies fans maybe listening to this right now. I didn't care for the movie. I know. I hear the hate as I can sense your hatred. I just didn't get the big fuss over the movie, and a lot of it is just, I don't know, I think a lot of the movie is just really campy. Maybe it's just because I didn't grow up with this movie, but I just did not really get why people love this movie so much, and it's just, I mean, there's not really much more I can say about this movie. The movie's directed by Richard Donner, who did Superman, and then it's also produced by Spielberg. It's got a Spielberg vibe to it, but it's not a Spielberg movie, so don't even, if someone tells you, yeah, it's directed by Spielberg, no, it's not. And it's an okay movie. It's just a movie. It's a movie I'm never going to watch again, and that's really all I want to say about it. You can check out my full review on The Goonies right now on my YouTube channel. And now it's time to move on to TV. This is everything going on in the world of television that I'm watching. So first we got to talk about Big Brother 19, episodes 27 through 29. Well, this week of Big Brother, we had Mark go home. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Oh yeah, I did. I've seen that coming for a while. Big Brother this season has been really too predictable. This last episode, you had Jason, he wins HOH, and he nominates the last showmance in the house. So one of them will probably go home. I was thinking it was going to get more interesting, but the only way I could see it get more interesting if the couple had won. But Paul is playing a great game. He really is. He's playing a Will Curvy game. He's manipulating the couples all against each other, so he's going to be in there a while. I don't know if he'll win, but he's making a good case of him being a good all-star. Now it's time to move on to video game. No, it's not. Just kidding. Ha 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 ha. Read my notes wrong. And now it's time to move on to the theme of the week. This is the theme of the week, and that is Game of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 7, The Dragon and the Wolf. What a season finale this was for Game of Thrones. It was an hour and a half long, and really, the time flew by. First, I'll just talk about some of the things to talk about this episode of Game of Thrones. Just you had the Mexican standoff diplomacy meeting. You had Jon and Daenerys trying to get a peace with Cersei so they can fight the Night King. And how do they convince him? They show him a White Walker. And that White Walker scares the shit out of Jaime and Cersei. And Cersei's like, okay, we need to work together. But Cersei's like, it's like, as soon as this is over, though, the King of the North will remain in the North. And Jon's like, no, I pledge my loyalty to Daenerys Targaryen. And it kind of, everything kind of just falls apart. And everyone's like, damn it, man, why can't you just learn to lie? He's like, I can't do that. It's just not who he is. It's just what not Ned told him. He's Ned's son, even though he may not actually be. So, you had Tyrion talk to Cersei, and Cersei's playing a long game. She says, okay, I'll agree with this. And then she tells Jaime that, it's like, well, we're not actually going to be doing that. She's like, what? What do you mean? Jaime's like, what do you mean? It's like, we're going to play the long game. We're going to, whoever ends up, if the dead beat them, we'll take care of the dead. If they win, then we'll take care of them. And Jaime's like, we need to show some loyalty. He's like, I made a vow. And at the end, you see Jaime, he leads King's Landing. It was such a great moment. But the moment I really want to talk about, it's just one of these little, small, powerful moments. It's just when you see the snow coming. You see snow in King's Landing. And we've been waiting 7 seasons for snow to finally hit the south. And it's finally coming to King's Landing. Winter is finally here in King's Landing. And it was such a great moment. So, the other thing to talk about this episode, I'll get to the big last 2 or 3 moments in a minute. The moment whenever we have one of my favorite Game of Thrones characters dead. Littlefinger is dead. I'm really sad because Peter Baelish is one of my favorite characters. I thought he was so awesome in the show, and beaten by Sansa, and Sansa gets the order. Arya kills her, and I love the roles of the two. They were kind of playing Littlefinger a little bit, and Littlefinger went out swinging. He wasn't going to let his power go away, and Sansa's like, thank you for all the lessons you have taught me, Littlefinger, and it's time for you to go. And what a great moment that was. And then you have that quote from that Arya says. It says, when the winter comes, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. And then you have Samwell Tarly. He shows up at Winterfell, and he's discussing with Bran about Jon Snow. That Bran says, yeah, he's not even my brother. He's more like my cousin. And Bran at first thinks he's just a bastard. He's just a bastard from Sand. He's Rhaegar Targaryen's son. So his name was actually Jon Sand. But Sam, that's out of the way the show said, because he transcribed it, but he really didn't. He says that a High Septon had annulled the marriage between Rhaegar Targaryen and Elara Martell. And had married in secret Rhaegar Targaryen to Lyanna Stark. Robert's rebellion was a lie. Rhaegar didn't kidnap Lyanna. He actually loved her, and they got married in secret. And then that makes Jon Snow, not Jon Snow. We found out his real name. His real name is Aegon Targaryen. That's right. Jon Snow is not a bastard. The thing we've been learning ever since the beginning of the show, whenever Jon told Bran, he's like, I'm not a Stark. You are a Stark, but you're also a Targaryen. So it was such a great moment in the episode. And then you also had Daenerys and Jon having sex. It's going to be a little weird next episode, or episode after that, whenever they finally get to Winterfell. Whenever Jon's like, he's like, oh yeah, you're a Targaryen. He's like, that means I made love with my... Everyone was rooting for it, and, so the final thing to talk about, we end up dang at Eastwatch, and I talk about my review. My review should be up tomorrow on season 7, and you see the wall, and it is, and you see the Eastwatch by the sea, and I was just like, I got a bad feeling about this. And the Night King comes with his dragon, with Viserion, turned into a White Walker, and the wall goes down. The wall goes down. That idiot Donald Trump is crying because the wall goes down. And it was it's just an Amish moment, and those people in Westeros are fucked. There's no way they can survive what's coming for them. So that was this episode of Game of Thrones, and what a season finale it was. This season was a great this was a great season of Game of Thrones, and we're setting stuff up for the final season. And I don't know what's going to happen. Be honest with you, I won't be because can Jon Snow or Aegon Targaryen or Jon Targaryen, however you want to call him, can he end up on the Iron Throne at the end of the series? I always go back to a quote by George R. R. Martin and says, if you think this show has a happy ending, you obviously have not been paying attention. Because no major character really died this season. Maybe the Olenna Tyrell died. Okay, she died. No one else died, though. So what happens next? So and who knows what Cersei's gonna do? Cersei's bringing in the Golden Company. Great shout out to the books. I can't wait to see them next season. If they even show up next season, who knows what's gonna happen with Cersei? Arya could go and kill Cersei. Who knows actually what happens? And this has been a great season of Game of Thrones, and I can't wait for season 8. I'm probably gonna be rewatching all 7 seasons because I have HBO now. And now it's time to move on to video games. I have no video games to talk about, so let's move on to anime. So, this week in anime, I have one show I want to talk about the first 2 seasons. But let's first talk about Boruto, episode 21, Sasuke and Sarada. We have Sarada, she meets Sasuke, and she finally meets her father. And then, it's just a great moment. Sarada is just... she's questioning Sasuke. It's like, who's my mother? Is Sakura really my mother? And then you have Shin come back. They're wanting Sarada, and they're fighting Naruto and Sasuke, and Naruto gets stabbed. It was a great episode of Boruto. There's not really much more to talk about. I'm looking forward to this week's episode. And the show I really want to talk about, though, is My Hero Academia, or Academy. I don't even know how you really say it. I'm talking about season 1 through season 2. I watched the entire season 1 and season 2, and I have to say, holy shit, what an incredible show this was. I talked about the pilot last week on the Darth Easy Show, and I'll be talking about this show every week that there's an episode that I can talk about. This show is just so good. You have the character Deku, who he has the power one for all, trained by the mighty hero All Might, to become the greatest hero try to become the greatest hero. And he's just learned, in the end of the season, in season 2, he's learned how to control his power. But he can't use his power without freaking breaking his hands and stuff. And it's a cool little anime. There are a lot of cool characters. If you like action animes, I think you would really like My Hero Academy. Overall, I really, really like this anime. I'll be talking about it week by week. So stay tuned for that. And now time to move on to books. Star Wars Inferno Squad. I haven't really been reading much of it, so I'm not even going to talk much about what's going on. So now it's time to move on to upcoming. So usually this would be the time where I would talk about what's coming up next week. Unfortunately, I have nothing coming up next week. Next week is kind of dead period for movies, so I will not be talking about anything. So that really ends this week's episode of the Darth Easy Show. So if you're not doing it already, make sure you download this episode on iTunes. It helps me out. And make sure you go subscribe to me on YouTube at Darth Easy. I would love some more subscribers to make this show worthwhile. So guys, comment below. Tell me if there's any shows I need to start watching. I think I'm gonna start watching Legion, because I think I'm either gonna watch Legion or I'm gonna rewatch all of Game of Thrones. I haven't decided yet. So guys, until next week, take care, be safe, and make sure you keep tuning in this week on the Darth Easy YouTube channel. I have some fun reviews coming out. I'll have the Game of Thrones Season 7 review coming out, a classic movie review next week, and also my review of Wind River. So guys, take care. Bye!